Welcome to another edition of EFNL Insight. I'm Ryan Long, Media Manager. Once again in the studios, joined by Blake Tennant. And it's been a big weekend for both of us. I think you had all three games of the broadcast games on the Saturday, and great to have you back in the studios as well. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had an Insight episode, but it's been very busy.
It has been very busy, and it was my first game back. So after a stint of, fortunately had some other things pop up. So it was good to see, good to be back, and good to be back and seeing EFNL footy as well. We had a couple good games as well, and definitely a lot of results. Definitely that changed a lot of things in the EFNL landscape as we go through another episode of Insight. Yeah,
absolutely right. And we are going to touch on a lot that's happening tomorrow on Saturday and everything across the weekend. But a couple of games to have a look at and reflect back on was the match of the rounds that we had in, starting with the Eastland match of the round between Surrey Park and Templestowe. It was the Dockers in the end, 8-3-51, defeating Surrey Park 4-8-32, a 19-point win for Templestowe to move them into 5-1 on top of the ladder, going along very, very nicely in Division 2. 2 goals, Alex Brown and Andrew Fasanella. Ryan Giovannini outstanding in the absence of Bo Mitchener in the ruck, and Jack Mann also quite impressive, although he did come off with a yellow card late, was one of the leading disposal getters for Surrey Park. But Blake, on the boundary in the afternoon for that game, how did you see it play out? I think once the rain sort of hit, the bigger bodies at Templestowe really stood up and were the difference.
Yeah, definitely. I actually had to go get an umbrella as well, so I missed a bit. But no, it was a good game of footy between those two sides. I thought maybe Surrey Park were a little bit undisciplined. I thought a lot of yellow cards as well. So maybe that they got a lot of big heads. I would say that game, maybe a reality check for Surrey Park. But I'm sure we'll be seeing Surrey Park come August, September, heading into a finals. But for Templestowe, they were terrific all day. They battled hard, and their forwards to me stood out the most as well, which is where the game was set up. I think Giovannini, as you alluded to, Fasanella kicked, obviously 2, but they just had more options, I felt, than Surrey Park. And I thought, in that first quarter, all the momentum was going to Surrey Park's way. Right, don't get me wrong, I think Hayden Telford kicked the first goal, Ryan, pretty much
had a good start of the year.
Good start as well for Surrey. But I felt like the midfielders as well, like Carl Giovannini, he was pretty solid all day. Fogarty was best on ground, it said, on Play HQ. So I felt their midfield got a bit ahead of Surrey Park in that game. But, you can't really replace Bo Mitchener, can't you? But I guess that you did when you got Ryan Giovannini playing in that side too. So that's a big win for Templestowe. And, I had a little bit of question marks coming into the game with Templestowe's form, because it's been hot and cold, looking at...
Well, it's just probably that one first half against Wanturna South where they got jumped out the gates.
You could look at past results too for Templestowe.
Maybe last year. But
yeah, and I would say even the year before. I think they lost in straight sets as well. Well, they won a final, then lost 2 after that. So, I think that's probably Templestowe. From where I sit with Templestowe and, been watching them, I think that's their best win. I think they've had... I don't recall seeing, many wins that are bigger than that. I think the Waverley Blues final will be definitely up there. But if you had to say, in the last couple of years, that's probably Templestowe's biggest win, I reckon.
Well, and we've talked a lot about this with Boronia not in the division. It's just a massive opportunity for a lot of sides now to win a flag in this competition.
Definitely.
It is very even, and Templestowe, I know we're very early in. We're 5 games in, but if you had to pick one side right now, gun to the head, you'd pick Templestowe just on form. And Daniel Cooper didn't get going yesterday. He was shut down on Saturday. He was shut down.
Kicked one
goal.
But then he got carded too.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to touch on Div 2, while we're at it, Mulgrave with 3-0 at the start of the year, and we thought, 100 years, this is a perfect, lining for Mulgrave to, finally get back up to a first division, of course, but haven't they fallen down a little bit too as well? So,
Waverley Blues is one that they were last on the ladder 2 weeks ago. Now they're in the top 5.
Yeah, it's a hard one to predict, but I'm going to say this now, but I'm gonna make myself look like an idiot if this is going to happen. But we could show the graphics if you want, Ryan, as well. But Div 2 ladder, I think that will be the ladder that we'll be seeing at the end of the year.
So right now, the top 5 as it stands, which is on the screen at the moment, that is your top 5. Maybe a different order, but they are the 5 sides you think are going to make it.
I think I can trust all these sides in the top 5. I trust Waverley Blues. They've won 2 in a row now. I trust Mulgrave. I think if you really had to, like Montana South, that's probably your one, and Waverley Blues. I feel like they're the two 50-50s, but I can trust Templestowe, Mulgrave, and Surrey Park. They're my 3 locks. I can trust them to make finals.
Yep.
But it's up to Waverley Blues and Montana South as the 2. So I'm saying this now. That's going to be my top 5.
Okay.
But I'm going to look like an idiot, aren't I? Because this division.
It's hard to predict, and I don't know, because I really like Croydon still when they get going.
But scoring's been their issue though.
It has. It was a little bit better a few weeks ago in Surrey Park, and last weekend there was a tight game. Conditions certainly didn't help, but they only fell short by 2 points. East Build are an interesting case.
Yeah, they are.
If they can string some wins together now.
But I did want to ask you, do you see this being your top 5? Obviously, ladder positioning can change, but do you see these 5 teams?
I could see it happening, but I'm not. I wouldn't stick my neck out and say like you and say that is your top 5. I'm not sure.
So who do you reckon will come in?
I think those 2. I think Croydon, and I've just been really impressed with what East Build have done at the start of the season. So I think those 2 could easily fit into the top 5. But in saying that, who comes out, I don't know.
I think
So
I'm just saying I've seen a little bit of this division. I've seen Montana South, obviously seen Templestowe, you've seen Mulgrave, you've seen Waverley. We saw Surrey Park on the weekend. I've seen Ringwood as well, but I haven't obviously seen Croydon and East Build and Lilydale. And I think, I like what I'm seeing in that top 5.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Yeah. The senior women's competition, we were lucky enough to have the 2 games streamed last weekend with both the Surrey Park and Donvale game on the Saturday, and then the girls' day out, which we're going to touch on in a moment. But you were at both games, and you were at Surrey Park in the morning for that game against Donvale. And research, how much research did you do into this?
Jeez, I knew you were bringing it up. So just for the viewers listening,
let's play the clip first.
Yeah, play the clip.
If you're going to interview someone, just double check if you've got...
I was driving into the game, and I'm like, it's got to be Lumpy.
Well, let's play the clip.
Surrey Park Premiership coach in Division 2 last year, and nicknamed Lumpy, I believe. Is that correct? Chops, that's the one. Sorry, Chops.
Oh, no.
I've dropped the
Lumpy.
Main.
That was the Croydon North Emlock coach from last year.
And if he's watching, I do apologise.
I know what was going on in your mind. Josh Ward had told you that his nickname, the Surrey Park coach, is Chops.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, you've gone back a year and was thinking about the Croydon North Emlock coach and just completely muddled that up.
I was driving into the game, and I was like, I knew it's either Lumpy or Chops, and I'm going to butcher one of them if I just say that. And I butcher it as well. But I think we've all had a few moments. I'm sure you've had a few as well. But
I had a couple.
Yeah, but that's bad.
I haven't gone with the nickname. That's completely wrong.
Yeah, that's terrible. But anyway, back to the game. Can we just touch on, before we get into Surrey,
Yep.
I think Donvale, I think we've got to give them a bit of love.
Oh, absolutely.
They were pretty good for a team that has a percentage of 10 and hasn't won a game in the year, haven't won a game all season long. I thought they were terrific. Even though they lost, they were just into the contest straight away. Their midfielders got to work. Maybe their forward line's probably letting them down, because their defence was pretty solid, I thought, to keep Surrey Park to 18 points. And, I thought the conditions wasn't much rain.
Not at that stage.
Yeah. So I think they've got enough midfielders, they've got enough defence, and I think their forwards is letting them down at this stage.
Well, yeah, I mean, you talk about the territory that they probably the territory battle that they probably won for majority of the morning. They were in control. They were getting those repeat inside 50s, but no reward for their effort. So they're a lot closer to a win than what potentially you thought at the start of the start of the day. And they've got their star players are very important. Van Ooster, which again was really good. Both of them, Amelia and Mia. Jess Crundle, the skipper, back in the side after a week off. I think there's a lot of talent on that lineup still. So I think they can get a win soon.
Yeah, definitely. And I was really impressed with Don Vale, and I think their win's not far away, definitely. Yep. And I think the forward line's just lacking a bit for Don Vale. But I was very happy with how that went, though.
Absolutely. And on Sunday, it was a big day because it was the Girls' Day Out event, which has been...
massive day.
Yeah, promoted through the podcast and everything, and really well organised again by Shalette Baker, the senior coach at Montrose. And it was a big game for Blackburn, who got the job done, 5-5-35 to 2-3-15 in a 1v2 clash. Shay Dale was absolutely outstanding for the Burners. And it was a big effort from the visitors to take on Montrose, all single goal kickers on the day, which is a sign of their strength, and they're not relying on just one player, Blake.
No, definitely. And before we talk to the game, I just want to say thanks to Blackburn, I think, for coming on board for this game. And they had a foundation as well for the Hands Off
Foundation,
which is a very big thing as well. And Shalette Baker said it in pre-game as well. And Blackburn, I think their stars came into the game where it mattered the most. Where Montrose, I thought they relied maybe on a handful of players. I thought Chloe Jones, they relied on her. Hannah Lawson, obviously she got injured, I think in the third quarter or the fourth quarter. And then I thought Tiana Whitnish as well. I think they, I know she's a good backman and all that. I thought they maybe relied on, if she was going to go up for the intercept mark and all that. So that's another thing. And from Montrose point of view, I think they'll be happy with the scoring point of view because, I think I said it on the podcast that Blackburn have been kicking over 50s for the last couple of weeks, and to get scored on by Blackburn by 35 points, I think that's pretty good. You'll take that. I reckon, just judging for the point system that they've been kicking goals-wise, I think that's a bonus for Montrose to keep them to 35 points.
Well, I think when two really good sides and two sides who can score go head-to-head, it's not always going to be the high-scoring game when they both match up. And I think Blackburn are really going to walk away with this with a lot of confidence, and they'll get them at Morton Park a little bit later in the season. Another interesting game.
Round 12.
Yeah, so we'll see how they match up then. Again, I mean, these two sides could play 4 times during the season. But with the top 4 final series, you might play each other in the first final and the semi-final, and then meet 2 weeks later in a grand final. If that's the way it's going, but can't count out Murrelbach and probably the Waverley Blues as well as two sides who can potentially win it all on their day. But it was a fantastic day, and you well said, the Hands Off Foundation, a really important one, empowering survivors from sexual assault and family violence. All the proceeds of the event went directly to the vital cause.
Orange footballs too, as well, which is another big thing. So, yeah.
And then obviously the AFLW talent and Grace Barber we got to speak to before the game.
She was very funny, wasn't she?
Yeah, very good. We also spoke to Caitlin Barr, the AFL rookie listed umpire as well, which was great to hear her experiences going in through the AFL. So you can check that out on our YouTube stream as well. That's all there at the moment. Let's look ahead. Or before we do, win of the week. Have you got one?
Yeah, I do have one.
I think there's 2 games that come to mind.
I'm going to go Sylvan being done.
Okay, yep.
I think that's to me, that's win of the week. And I think Sylvan would have been celebrating to the early hours of the morning.
I think they're still going at the moment.
Have they let us know? There's been a few messages, or have they been pretty quiet, the Cats?
As in, like, getting stuck into us for not tip. No, I don't think anyone would have I mean,
I'm
how
surprised
could
they
you tip
haven't-
against Stonvale at the moment?
But I'm surprised they didn't message me because I put them to be relegated.
Okay, well, you've
So-
just told him. You've just given him a reminder. So, at Blake Tennant,
Yeah, 15.
get stuck into him. But,
Yeah.
a 1-point win for them. I also thought the Fair Park one
that's
was...
a big one.
I was tossing up between those two. Fair Park beating Knox by a point, 56-55. And considering coming into that game, and I know Knox have some players out of the side, I was getting really worried for Fair Park and where that first win was coming. They'd been struggling.
Yeah.
Their reserves and 19s as well. Emotional day for them to get up and just celebrate the win. First one for Josh Allison under the board as senior coach.
Did see the rooms after the game. Did you see
Yep.
the team song? Because
Yep.
that was pretty huge as well, to seeing everyone in there and singing the song. A lot of new faces, of course, because they
Yep.
haven't won a game. So, which is great. So this could be a stepping stone for Fair Park moving forward, I reckon.
Yeah, I like it. I was, just coming out of that weekend to see those two sides win, two big upsets. Before this, I've thought the top three, and then there's a massive gap.
Yeah.
At least now we're seeing a couple of those side scores be lost to the base in the week prior too, so potentially it's evening up a little bit more, and hopefully once you get to the final series, you've got whoever finishes in that 4th or 5th spot, they're going to be just as competitive as the top three sides. But
Definitely.
all right, is it time?
Furnace
Bring
time.
back the furnace.
Oh,
All right, so give us a recap. The last time we did it,
Yep.
Heathmont were in your furnace.
Oh, they're
Jesus.
they're going to be staying in there for the whole season until I can trust them. So
Okay, well, it's
they'll be on.
not looking good early for them.
It's not. That's definitely not. So
But Doncaster East came out.
Doncaster East are out.
Yep.
So they were in the first edition just due to I wasn't happy with the way they were playing. So they come out because they've been challenging, I reckon, and they've gone
Well,
into.
you said something about Shaki, and
Shaki's just
has
gone
off.
He's probably listened to the Insight, and I think he's kicked. He kicked 7 last week, didn't he?
He did kick 7. Yeah, and
then I
had
think-
another big bag
And
as
then
well.
I think the week before,
Leading goal scorer in Premier Division now.
Yeah, so I reckon he's tuned in to Insight. So
Yeah,
maybe,
I don't know.
maybe a Doncaster East or someone's gone in and listened in, and I've had a go on him. But that's fair enough. He's an ex-AFL player.
But he was playing well before you probably put the onus on.
Having 8 touches, I thought was not up to his standard.
He's not going to rack up
But
20 touches playing for.
Anyway, I'm off Doncaster East, so they're
good.
out. But they might be coming back in shortly if a few more losses or
Give him a break for a
and
bit.
all that. So that they're out. But
Who's in?
Who's in?
Who's joining
moment?
Heathmont?
So I'm still sticking with.
Before we continue, just in case if we've got new listeners, what is this?
Okay,
Furnace?
so the Furnace is pretty much a thing that I run as well. So you can message me, not this guy to my left. I'm just saying it's a team that I feel like is under pressure and they need to start delivering big performances, all right? So I know there's going to be one new team. So coming in to today, so last week's edition, we obviously got Heathmont in there.
Yep.
South Croydon is in there. And I believe the other team is Coldstream. So Coldstream, South Croydon and Heathmont are in there, but there's one new team coming into the Furnace, and they play each other this week. And if you're wondering who it is, it's a side that I have great memories with, the Mitcham Footy Club. So they're going in the Furnace this week. Now, I think I've been pretty good with Mitcham this year, Ryan. I haven't done anything bad, but I'm just doing a
Well, why have you
Furnace.
put him in the Furnace today?
Because they're playing South Croydon this week at Walker Park. And so whoever loses will be in the Furnace. So that's why I'm putting the pressure on both of those sides to win. I just think Mitcham, yes, they've been in a few games and we've got to give them some of that credit as well. But, to be 0-5 as well. And I know there's been a few
0-4. No, 5. You're right. It has been 5 weeks.
Yeah. I think it's time that, because you don't want to be 0-6 as well coming into this weekend. So, and I think Berwick, everyone knows, whereabouts, at the start of the year, if you're predicting, of course. But for Mitcham, I had a lot of praise for them that they can win a few games.
But they've been.
I know they've
Devil's
been
advocate.
close.
They've won. They've not won. They've come close on 3 attempts.
Yes.
Against good sides.
Yes, I know. But
You a little bit harsh.
I wouldn't say maybe a little bit. Not too much, though. I think I've been pretty good with Mitcham as well. So they're going to be joining in. Heathmont just frustrating again. Just
so Heathmont probably don't get out.
Heathmont
until do they need for you to have a bit of trust? What are they going to do? String it together a couple of wins in a row?
I think 3 wins in a row, and then I can start getting the trust back.
Okay.
They've just been so ordinary. Like, we
won't harp on it too much because it's probably been the whole 2025 season that we've
so Heathmont are in there. They're probably going to be there. I'm going to say round 15. That's how long they're going to be staying in the furnace.
Okay.
That's probably, you can say TBC. Like when you do an injury report.
Yep.
TBC.
I know what TBC is. Yep.
So another one as well. I'm going to do.
You're adding another one?
Sorry. No, I think Coldstream.
Oh, okay.
I was going to Coldstream. Coldstream, yes, they've. We all know what happened with Coldstream. They relied too much on Darcy Fritsch, and it worked. Don't get me wrong. They made finals, but I'm not too happy with the way they're travelling at the moment. Obviously, I've seen now that Fritsch has been playing midfield time, but you got to get scorers involved. You know, you can't rely on Fritsch. I know he is the answer, and that's totally fine. He's a star, but you've got to find other ways to kick goals. And
you said Fritsch is playing more up the ground.
Yeah, I saw vision, and he's been playing midfield as well. So they've got to find other ways to get some scoring. I can if you give me some bit of time, I can also dig in some more research on some of their goal kickers that have been around that sort of part, and I'm just not happy with the performances. Like they played against some of these contenders, right? Like they played Domvale, but everyone's losing Domvale apart from Sylvan, of course.
Yep.
But I'm just worried with some of these performances that's been happening with them, and yes, they lost a forward due to suspension, but that's happens, and I feel like Darcy Carrigan's carrying a load through this whole midfield. So I'm relying on their midfielders to kick goals. I'm just not happy with the way things are happening at the moment for Coldstream. So they're going to be staying in there for a bit. So they've run home for Coldstream, and you can predict if you want to, Ryan. They've got Knox at Coldstream.
Hard one, tough.
Yep. And then they've got Upper Gully at Upper Gully. It's a hard one too.
Yep.
Well, just
with the way Upper Gully's going at the moment.
And then they've got a bye because due to the Sylvan game.
Oh yeah, obviously with the Kings.
So they're in a bit of trouble, Coldstream, I feel like, and so they'll be in the furnace until I can get a bit more trust.
So just to recap, your furnace, you've got Heathmont, South Croydon, Coldstream, and Mitcham.
Yep.
Okay.
They're in there. I want to add a few more teams as well.
You can add half the comp with.
But I feel like I'm going to be a bit harsh with some of the teams as well.
All right, just tell me one side that's on warning for you.
I've got 2. Can I give you 2?
Oh, give me 2.
Muralbark. Now,
Muralbark?
Yep. They haven't taken a scalp this year. Who have they got?
Neither Montrose.
Yeah, but I feel like Muralbark...
So Montrose the other side?
Yeah, no, they're going to be, I think, if they don't win their next 3, they'll be in the furnace.
Okay.
But Muralbark will be on notice with Baronia. Muralbark and Baronia are the 2 clubs on warning at this stage because Muralbark haven't taken a scalp. If you look back at last year, you can probably look at 2023. They've only beaten 2 of the top 5 teams. That's it. That's it, really. Of the finals, like from finalists in 2024, 2023, like they need to take a scalp, and I don't know when that scalp's going to be, because if you look at Muralbark, their top 12 elite, we know how elite their top 12 can be, but if you look at their bottom, maybe 10, there's a few question marks there.
I just think on your logic, right? So you're saying these 2 sides in Muralbark and Baronia haven't beat one of the top 3?
No. I'm just saying. Muralbark, they haven't taken a scalp.
Yep.
Baronia, they haven't beaten the top sides above them.
But on your logic, wouldn't you put Montrose in the same category? They haven't beaten anyone in the top 4. And they lost to Baronia by the side that you want to put in by 80 points.
I can say they had 7 of their best 22 out. They did.
Baronia had 3 Team of the Year players out.
I know, but they're on warning. they're probably going to be a warning because I looked up Montrose's next couple games, and Montrose got Mirrabak this week at the Heights.
Yep.
Then they've got North Ringwood, and then they've got South Belgrave, I'm pretty sure, after that. So they have to win at least 2. But if they lose all 3, they're in the first. I'm happy to go with that.
Put
So
them on morning. Your segment, I like it.
Yep.
Okay.
So those 3. So Heathmont, just a quick recap. So Heathmont, South Croydon, Mitcham, Coldstream, 2 sides on notice, Mirrabak, Boronia.
Okay. And you did touch on your little rivalry with Mitcham, and this actually happened last year at the Division 2 Grand Final day after the Tigers had won on the Saturday, and Gav Ward stitched you up, as you can see on camera at the moment, putting the scarf over your head.
Yeah.
You weren't too pleased with that?
No, I wasn't too pleased. I don't have an issue with Mitcham. I just don't, I've gone into their presentation video. I don't know how I got in there, for starters. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they like me down there. I don't know.
That's all right. We'll see. We'll see what their reaction is to that.
But yeah, that's the pressure.
Absolutely.